Okay, this is gonna be the front of the tractor, okay, the part A, okay. You have your tractor clearance lights, okay, those lights up there. The lenses are not broken or cracked. They're mounted and secured and are amber in color. Next, you have your high beams, low beams, turn signals, and four-way flashers. The lenses are not broken or cracked. They're mounted and secured and are white and amber in color, okay. Take a step back underneath the tractor. There's no puddles or leaks, no hanging hoses, and no bare wire, okay. Now you're gonna open the hood and continue on the right side of the truck. Yeah, the right side of the truck, you have your front axle, okay. It is not broken or cracked. It has no illegal welds. Mounted and secured with the proper nuts and bolts. Your exhaust, okay, back here. This one here. The exhaust is not broken or cracked. It has no illegal welds. Mounted and secured with the proper nuts and bolts. It has no illegal welds and has no leaks of any kind. Next, you have your washer fluid reservoir. It is not broken or cracked. Mounted and secured with the proper nuts and bolts. It has a good cap with a good seal in the close position. It is filled to the proper level and the hoses are not ripped or cut with no leaks. You have your radiator. It is not broken or cracked. It is radiator reservoir, not broken or cracked. Mounted and secured with the proper nuts and bolts. It has a good cap with a good seal in the close position and it is filled to the proper fluid level. The hoses are not ripped or cut with good clamps and no leaks of any kind, okay. Next, you have the radiator, okay, that whole part right there. Radiator is not broken or cracked. It has no illegal welds. Mounted and secured with the proper nuts and bolts. The hoses are not ripped or cut with good working clamps and no leaks. Alright. Next, you have your water pump. The water pump is not broken or cracked. It has no illegal welds. Mounted and secured with the proper nuts and bolts. The hoses to the water pump are not ripped or cut and have no leaks with good working clamps, okay? And it is belt driven. Here's the belt. The belt is not ripped or cut with 3/4 of proper tension. Now we have to mention the serpentine belt. The serpentine belt. It is not ripped or cut. It has 3/4 of proper tension. It operates my water pump, my fan, my power steering pump, and alternator that are on the other side. Next, I have the fan. The fan is not broken or cracked. It has no missing blades. It is mounted and secured with nuts and bolts, and it is belt driven. The belt is not ripped or cut with 3/4 of proper tension. Next, I'm gonna go to the other side, okay? You have the left side of the truck. You have your frame. The frame is not broken or cracked, has no illegal welds, no illegal holes, and is mounted and secured. You have your dipstick. It is not broken or cracked. This is where you check your oil and it is filled to the proper fluid level. Air compressor, okay, right back here. That one there. The air compressor is not broken or cracked, has no illegal welds, mounted and secured with the proper nuts and bolts, and it is gear driven. The hoses are not ripped or cut and have no leaks of any kind. Next, you got the alternator, this one here. The alternator is not broken or cracked, has no illegal welds, mounted and secured with the proper nuts and bolts. There is no bare wires or illegal black tape, okay? And it is belt driven. Here's the belt. The belt is not ripped or cut with 3/4 of proper tension. Next, you have your power steering pump, this one down here. The power steering pump is not broken or cracked, has no illegal welds, mounted and secured with the proper nuts and bolts. The hoses, here's the hose. It's not ripped, torn, or cut with no leaks, and it is belt driven. The belt is not ripped or cut with 3/4 of proper tension. Next, you have your power steering reservoir. Power steering reservoir is not broken or cracked, has no illegal welds, mounted and secured with proper nuts and bolts. It has a good cap with a good seal in the close position, and the hose is not ripped or cut with good working clamps and no leaks. Now you have your steering components. You have your steering column. It is not broken or cracked. Has no illegal welds. Mounted and secured with nuts and bolts, and it is properly greased. Gearbox. The gearbox is not broken or cracked. Has no illegal welds. Mounted and secured with the proper nuts and bolts. And the lines are not broken or cracked, and no leaks of any kind. You have your pitman arm. Pitman arm is not broken or cracked. It has no illegal welds. Mounted and secure with crown nuts and cotter keys. Okay, those there. Next, you have your drag link. This one here. It is not broken or cracked. No illegal welds. Mounted and secure with crown nuts and cotter keys. Okay. Steer arm. This one here is not broken or cracked. No illegal welds. Mounted and secure with the proper crown nuts and cotter keys. You have your tie rod back here. Tie rod is not broken or cracked. No illegal welds. Mounted and secure with proper crown nuts and cotter keys. Next, you have your suspension. Spring mount. It's not broken or cracked. No illegal welds. Mounted and secure with the proper nuts and bolts. Your leaf springs. Not broken or cracked. No illegal welds. Mounted and secure with the proper nuts and bolts. Your U-bolts and spacers. Right here. U-bolts, spacers. Not broken or cracked. No illegal welds. Mounted and secured with the proper nuts and bolts. Shock absorber. Not broken or cracked. No illegal welds. Mounted and secured with nuts and bolts, and has no leaks of any kind. Next, you're going to have your brake systems. Okay. You have your brake chamber. Brake chamber. It's not broken or cracked. No illegal welds. Mounted and secured with the proper nuts and bolts. The hose is not ripped or cut and has no leaks of any kind. Push rod. This one here, coming out of here. The push rod is not broken or cracked. Has no illegal welds. Mounted and secured with proper pins and cotter keys. And should have 1/2 inch to 1 inch of free play. Slack adjuster. This one here. Slack adjuster is not broken or cracked. Has no illegal welds. Mounted and secured with proper nuts and bolts. Okay. Next, you have your brake drum. Brake drum. This is your brake drum. This whole piece here. Brake drum, not broken or cracked. No illegal welds. Mounted and secured with the proper nuts and bolts. Has no oils or grease. Brake shoe is this one on the inside. Brake shoe is not broken or cracked. Has no oils or grease. And no deep grooves. And should have at least a 1/4 inch thickness. Okay. Next, you have your steer tire. Your steer tire has inside and outside. Has no bubbles. The PSI is between 100 and 110 PSI. I checked that with the air gauge. The tire tread on these tires should be no less than 4/32 of an inch. And this tire cannot be recapped. I have the rim. Not broken or cracked. No illegal welds. Has all of its lug nuts and none missing. And no rust indicating looseness. My valve stem. Not broken or cracked. No illegal welds. Has a good cap, good seal, and no leaks. My hubcap. Not broken or cracked. No illegal welds. No leaks of any kind, and is filled to a proper fluid level.